Here is the recap of the first season of Avatar, The Last Airbender. For thousands of years, 4 nations have lived in harmony. The world of fire, water, air, and earth. Each nation had so-called benders who could control their elements. However, in each generation there was an avatar who could control all the elements. He was the one who maintained the balance in the world. However, after the death of the previous avatar, the current avatar had not yet awakened his powers. Therefore, the Fire Nation decided to act and take over the other nations. And to protect themselves from the appearance of the avatar, the ruler of fire ordered the destruction of all the airbenders, among whom it is supposed to appear. At this time, in a tribe of air nomads, a gifted 12-year-old boy named Aang is told that he will be the next avatar. This puts a lot of pressure on the boy, and in order to relax, he gets on his tame flying bison, Appa, and flies to the ocean. There he gets caught in a storm and almost dies by drowning, but suddenly the powers of the avatar awaken in him and seal the protagonist in ice. Meanwhile, the soldiers of the Fire Nation attack his village and kill everyone there. 100 years have passed. The Fire Nation is still at war with other countries and slowly taking over more and more territory, but the world is still full of resistance. Azai, the leader of the Fire Nation, orders his son named Zuko to go on a journey to find the avatar who never appeared 100 years ago. If he is captured and killed, all other nations will stop resisting. This mission seems pointless, but Zuko can't refuse the ruler and together with his uncle Iroh sets off on the journey. For 3 years he travels the world and collects information about all past avatars. We are introduced to 2 characters from the Water Nation, a teenage boy named Sokka and his sister Katara. Their village was ravaged years ago by Fire Nation soldiers and their parents were killed. One day, the siblings stumble upon an ice sphere in the snows and suddenly a pillar of light bursts out of it, and then Aang appears. They bring him to their village and realize that he is an avatar. When he wakes up, the main character learns that 100 years have passed and all the people on Earth blame him for running away when the world needed him so much. Aang realizes that now he must fulfill his destiny and stop the Land of Fire. But first he must learn how to bend all the elements. Meanwhile, Prince Zuko also saw the Pillar of Light and realized that only an avatar could do this. Together with his men they attack the water village, but eventually Aang escapes with Sokka and Katara on a flying bison. The first thing the protagonists do is to visit Aang's home village, where he buries the remains of his teacher. There they pick up a small animal called Momo, who travels with them throughout the season. Meanwhile, Aang doesn't know where to start in becoming an avatar, so he wants to go to the nearest altar of a previous avatar named Kyoshi. Upon arriving on the island, they are met by a warlike tribe, but upon learning who Aang is, they allow him to read the ancient scrolls. While the main character is busy, Sokka falls in love with a local warrior named Suyuki, who loves him back, and Katara, who turns out to be talented in using waterbending, becomes more and more powerful thanks to Aang's tips. Soon the protagonist learns that avatars can mentally connect with their previous incarnations, and it is best to do it at their altars. So Aang connects with Kyoshi, who is one of the strongest of her kind. The spirit tells him that the main character needs to become stronger and go north to the Land of Water, as something terrible may happen there and only Aang will be able to stop it. At that moment, Prince Zuko's ship approaches the island. With his men, he attacks the main characters and almost kills them. Aang asks Kyoshi for help, and she uses his body to manifest her spirit, thereby driving the warriors of fire from the land. The protagonists then head north. Prince Zuko doesn't tell his father that he's on the Avatar's trail, as he realizes that the Fire Lord himself will want to catch him. Zuko, along with his uncle Iroh, enlists the help of Officer Zhao. But Zhao starts going behind his back and wants to capture the Avatar himself. The Fire Lord also has a daughter named Azula. The princess is much smarter and stronger than her brother, but her father does not take her seriously. Eventually, she fights back against the Fire Lord and starts to play her own game, helping Officer Zhao catch the Avatar first. The tyrant ruler likes these actions and encourages his daughter's behavior. He also makes Zhao an admiral and gives him an army. On their way north, the protagonists decide to stop in the city of Omashu. For many years, the Fire Nation has been trying to capture it, but the people of the Earth have no problem repelling all attacks. In Omashu, the protagonists meet the genius mechanic Sai and his son Theo. So we learn that Sokka is also a very good inventor, and he helps the mechanic create a prototype airship. It soon turns out that Sai is spying for the Fire Nation. In exchange for his son's safety, he leaks Omashu's technology to his enemies. However, the protagonists eventually persuade him to turn in his entire network of spies. Meanwhile, Aang meets with the king of the city, and he turns out to be an old man named Bumi, who was the main character's best friend 100 years ago. The king doesn't believe that Aang is capable of uniting nations like other avatars before him and gives the guy a test. But thanks to his friends, he passes it. While the main characters were in Omashu, Prince Zuko and his uncle Iroh also snuck into the city. However, things didn't go according to plan and Iroh was caught. At first we thought Zuko was the real villain, but we learn about the kid's hard fate. One day at a war council, the prince decided to speak out against the strategy of an officer who was willing to sacrifice an entire squad of recruits. The father challenged his son to a duel and Zuko even defeated him, but the boy did not dare to strike a decisive blow. For this, the Fire Lord burned his face and sent him off in search of an avatar, hoping never to see his son again. He also gave him the troop of recruits he had stood up for. Uncle Iroh and the team had been the closest people to him ever since, but he hadn't let it show. Now when his uncle is caught by Omashu's soldiers, he drops everything and helps him escape. As they continue their journey north, the protagonists stumble upon a village where people have recently mysteriously disappeared. It turns out that they have fallen into the spirit world and Aang decides to help them escape. However, the protagonists learn that they have been captured by the evil spirit Ko, who also kidnaps Sokka and Katara. He is incredibly strong and Aang has to leave the spirit world to find a way to defeat him. The guy goes to the altar of another avatar, who tells him that he once fought Ko. He was unable to defeat him, but he stole an item very valuable to him. As Aang leaves the altar, the mercenary Fire Prince appears and kidnaps the guy. Satisfied, Zuko and Iroh are about to return to the land of fire with victory, but then Admiral Zhao and his men stop them and take the avatar for themselves. At night, a masked ninja helps Aang escape from his imprisonment, but the savior is wounded and the protagonists hide from pursuit. The masked man turns out to be Zuko, who didn't want all the glory to go to Zhao. However, Aang escapes and goes back to his friends in the spirit world. At this time, Zhao learns from his patroness Princess Azula that the masked man was Zuko. The admiral wants to kill the prince and sets up his assassination. However, we soon learn that he survived and began hiding from Zhao. Aang returns to the spirit world and exchanges the statue stolen from Ko for the kidnapped people, including his friends. After some time, they finally reach the Northern Water Tribe. Aang warns them that the Fire Nation will soon attack them and they begin to prepare their defenses. Katara, who is already very good at waterbending, asks the local banders to teach her their knowledge, but it turns out that in this tribe women are not allowed to use bend in battle. Katara disagrees with this and challenges their leader to a duel. The girl loses the fight, but the old man barely defeats her, thus showing the rest of the tribe that women are also capable of being warriors. Meanwhile, Sokka meets a local priestess named Yu, and she seems very familiar to him. It turns out he met her in the spirit world when he was there a few episodes ago. The girl tells him that she got very sick as a child. Then her parents asked the spirits to help and they answered. Now a part of the moon spirit lives in the priestess, and that's why she can travel to both worlds. Meanwhile, Aang on the Avatar altar tries to contact his predecessor Kuruk. The protagonist asks for his help in the upcoming war with the Fire Nation. He wants the Avatar to become a part of him as Kyoshi did and defeat his enemies. But Kuruk can't help him, because in the past he has spent his life fighting demons in the spirit world, which has damaged not only his physical body, but also his spiritual body. A short time later, the ships of the Fire Nation under Admiral Zhao's command attack the walls of the Water Tribe. Iroh informs Zhao that this is not the best time to attack, as there is a full moon in the sky. This is where the water mages draw their power from, which means they are stronger than ever at this point. Zhao, on the other hand, says that now is the best time. It turns out Princess Azula and the Firebenders told him how to win this battle. During the full moon, the spirits of the moon and ocean come to this world in their mortal forms to experience what it is like to be mortal. Zhao's plan is to kill the moon spirit. However, this would invalidate the power of all waterbenders in general and cause a great imbalance in the world. Iroh is against this strategy, but Zhao is adamant. They board an airship and travel to the sacred place of the water people. Soon Zhao finds fish, which are mortal forms of the ocean spirit and the moon. A man kills the moon, causing all the Waitbenders to lose their powers and the fire soldiers to start winning. Aang realizes that the only way to save the water people from death is to give his body to the ocean spirit. But then he won't come back, so the ocean's revenge will continue until he finds his love, the moon. And she is dead. Aang agrees to this, and the spirit of the ocean enters his body. Then he destroys the army of the Fire Nation. At this time, the priestess Yu realizes that she also contains a part of the moon's spirit and sacrifices herself to resurrect the moon. The ocean releases Aang and he comes to his senses. Meanwhile, Zuko also sneaks in to capture the Avatar once again, but learns from Zhao that his father used him and never wanted him to return to him. All from Princess Azula, who he valued more. Iroh kills Zhao and then sails off with Zuko to an unknown destination. The protagonists win the battle, but in the end, many people die. Aang realizes that he needs to become stronger and finally learn to control all the elements as the avatars before him did. Meanwhile, Fire Lord Ozai is informed of Admiral Zhao's defeat, but he is not upset because it was actually a distraction. Meanwhile, the Fire Army, led by his daughter Princess Azula, captures the impregnable city of Omashu with its King Bumi. Also, the elders tell the Lord that the comet Sozin is approaching, which will give the Firebenders incredible power. This is the end of the first season. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the like button. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.